SHALAM, Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Come out 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, and GEN.YAHANNA. Since 1969, we've been teaching Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians our true identity according to the Bible, which is the 12 tribes of Israel, the Lord's chosen people. The only people that this book right here is meant for, the only people that the Lord gives a damn about. Of course, that our oppressor, the same man that has been lying to us and raping and murdering us for 400 plus years, is nothing more than the devil that the Bible speaks of. Today's class is going to be about, why it is that us as a people, we're always having our land stolen from us. No matter which route it is that we take, whether we go through legal means of going to the U.S. government, going to the Canadian government, or, hell, even going to the UN and disputing our case. Because we are, we're a separate nation from America. No matter what it is that we do, no matter what route it is that we take, whether you protest or you take, legal means, our land is always going to be snatched from us. Whether some BS is made up in order for our oppressor to take our land, or if they just take it by force like they've done, so many times in the past. So we're going to go ahead and give you a second to share the class. To any and every page, in order for this truth to get out there to the so-called Native Indians. We say so-called because, that was the name that our oppressor gave us after he enslaved us. He'd call us Native American, Native Indian, when really we are Hebrew Israelites from the tribe of Gad. If you got any questions, you can go ahead and you can type it in. Those of you that want to know, so you can get there ahead of time, will be in Deuteronomy 28 and 18. Second to finish sharing this class. Slovakia. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into it. So the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, in verse 18. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body. So when this scripture here is talking about the fruit, Salaki, body, you know what I'm saying, it can really only be talking about one thing, which is, our children, you know what I'm saying, those in which we bring forth from our loins. So it's letting us know that our children will be cursed in our lands. You know what I'm saying? And that can either be from, for instance, so we look at all these different protests that are going on throughout, indigenous land, either in America or up in Canada, or hell, even, going out to the UN. And it's always the youth of our nation that are doing these things, that are the spearhead to these type of things. And by them doing so, they always end up facing some type of hardship. For instance, those that were out at, the Keystone, the Keystone pipeline back in, what was that, 2016, you know what I'm saying, sitting there protesting, you know what I'm saying, they were out in the cold, they were getting hit by rubber bullets and attacked by dogs and being arrested and maced and sitting in, waist high water in freezing temperatures, which is really, that's really something that no child should be going through. You know what I'm saying? Because really, that is, those are conditions of war. And because in reality, by us doing these things, by our children and the few elderly that could get out, that were out there protesting, they were actually recognizing that, what was going on then, that was an act of war, that the weapons that were used on us, you know what I'm saying, those are the type of things that nations would use when they are at war with another nation. And at the end of the day, no matter how much torment it was that our people went through, you know what I'm saying, no matter how much we sat there and begged and plead, the youth of our nation, they were out there and they were suffering at the hands of our oppressor. Suffering, thinking that, believing in the, morality of a wicked nation, and believing in the government of a wicked nation. You know what I'm saying, a vile people would ultimately, I guess you could say, rise above and overcome their, lustful desires. When in reality, when we were out there getting shot up and bitten up and had all these chemical weapons used on us, our enemy, they got some type of pleasure out of using these things, out of causing some type of, pain or suffering to our people, just like they always have. Just like our youth would always have to, be the spearhead of the last 50, 75 years or so. And they'd be the main ones taking the brunt of, whatever it is that the U.S. government would send as, resistance to whatever movement it was that we had going on. I'm saying our oppressor makes sure to send everything that it is that he got against a bunch of, kids and teens. I'm saying, showing no mercy, no matter what route it is that we take. And yet us as a people, for some odd reason, we still sit there and we view, the justice system and just the American people all around as somebody that can be understanding and accepting. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that can be reasoned with. When throughout history, these people have never been able to be reasoned with. These people have always sat there and used any and every means that they could in order to, break our spirits as a nation. Saying a perfect example, of course, is when, the British military sat there and invaded. You know what I'm saying? When the French or the conquistadors, I'm saying whichever European power you want to look at, I'm saying they always made sure to sit there and target the youth of our nation. And more specifically, they made sure to target the young men of our nations. Because for some reason, everyone except for natives can recognize that, young men make up the backbone of a people. The young men run the households and make sure that everything runs smoothly throughout the entire community. But due to us accepting the doctrines and the philosophies of our oppressor, I'm saying there's a hell of a lot of masculine women out there on reservations. I'm saying and it's not just a physical type of ordeal that is that the youth of our nation are going through. It's also a mental thing, because a lot of the elderly, it's like a lot of the elders of our nations, they sit there and they'll teach, loving everybody. They'll teach believing in the U.S. justice system, amongst other things, when, by doing so, that ends up really causing our people, like it ends up causing a divide amongst our people. And in reality, it ends up causing the younger generations to sit there and love America, to sit there and look at what it is that they are doing to their people as something that can't be, perceived as being wrong, as being wicked. But that's the type of things that happen though when you've got a Christian, view on things that are going on. I'm saying just like natives sit there and we say, we're all one people. You know what I'm saying? It's meant for us all to, be one and be peaceful. You saying which that's just a strict, Christian viewpoint on things. And you might sit there and argue and be like, oh, I'm saying, but at the same time, we'll sit there and be like, our people, we were always accepting of all things and whatnot. But at the end of the day, we didn't accept those type of philosophies or doctrines until after we were enslaved by the white man. I'm saying we used to hate motherfuckers. Salaki my language. You know what I'm saying? We used to view certain things as being wrong and unacceptable. But now that we've grown up in the land of America and accepted their philosophies and ideals and ultimately their culture, you know what I'm saying, we really got no morality throughout our lands. we got nothing that we can use in order to build up our people as a whole. For instance, I'm saying we used to slack. For instance, we used to put homosexuals or gays to death for, you know, committing an act of laying with another man, and we used to put whores to death. We used to, you know, put those and make whores out of women to death, and so on and so forth. And then once we start welcoming in our oppressor, I'm saying we viewed him as something that's not a threat, and we accepted his philosophies that he promoted and said, you know, we're civilized and it is the right way to go. I'm saying now you got, you know, native men running around in jingle dresses, participating in, you know, powwows. I'm saying winning awards for outdancing women and whatnot. When that's not something that the Lord intended for our people. He didn't intend for us to be gay or lesbian. He didn't intend for, you know, our women to be whores, for our people to be drug addicts, alcoholics, murderers, liars, thieves. I'm saying so on and so forth. But when we don't sit there and teach the youth of our nation, you know, to keep their integrity, especially when it comes to these hard times, because I mean, shoot, we've always faced hard times on the reservations, off the reservations, but especially with the time that is coming, with World War III getting closer and closer, I'm saying it is detrimental that we teach our people to keep their integrity, to have some type of morality when it comes to these things that I previously listed. Saying, because at the end of the day, if we don't teach, you know, our youth to do these things, you know what I'm saying, to have that integrity, that morality, at the end of the day, they're just going to cave in. They're going to give in to America's society. They're going to sit there and indulge in what it is that our oppressor says is okay. When really the only way to teach, you know, our children to have this integrity, this morality, is to get them to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. That's really the only way. Because we've been robbed of, you know, these things that are so very important to building a nation for 400 plus years. And truly the only way to learn how to keep these is to come into the ISUPK. And that's the only way to learn how to keep them. The only way to teach our children how to have some type of morality, to teach the older generations how to have, you know, some type of morality. I'm saying there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm saying there's no joining one of these fake groups out here thinking that they teach the same thing as the UPK does. Because at the end of the day, there is only one home to this truth. There's only one organization that is ensuring that the nation of Israel, I'm saying, does as the Lord told us to do. And that's blatantly and obviously the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge under Commander GEN.YAHANNA. It's as simple as that. Salakia. Saying another thing of us having this Christian doctrine or spirituality mindset, whatever it is you want to call it. Another disadvantage to it is, we don't teach our children that the things that is going on either in the reservations or off the reservations, but more specifically like the land theft for pipelines or for Trump building his wall, or whatever resources it is that America finds on native land. We don't treat these things as something that is actually an act of war. Because when a foreign, power or government or entity sits there and invades your lands, that is an act of war. And any other nation on the face of this earth would sit there and view it as such. These people, they'd sit there, they'd take up arms, get their rifles, they would, craft explosives and booby traps and do whatever it is they can to ensure that this invading power does not make it any further in their lands. But yes, since we've sat there and we've taught our children how to love our oppressor, we've taught them a Christianized doctrine of, spirituality or, whatever it is you want to call, our belief system. And then by doing so, we simply look past, truly defending our land, and we just go to more of a, peaceful approach, as in, I'm saying, something that's no different from Martin Luther King marching for civil rights. So instead, we sit there and we lock arms and take on rubber bullets and pepper spray and dogs and tasers and lasers that'll blind you without even lifting a finger, without even pushing a motherfucker. We just sit there and we take it, hoping, that someday these people will come to their senses and help out the nation. when in reality, these people that have been doing these same things for, just generation upon generation, they will truly never change. They will always seek to cause harm to our people. They'll always seek to take what it is that we got, instead of teaching the youth of our nation, our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, instead of teaching them to take, a Christianized approach. I'm saying we should be getting into this book right here, and we should be looking for solutions in order to solve these problems. I'm saying there's nothing wrong with self-defense. I'm saying UPK, we don't believe in going out and attacking somebody, but we believe in defending yourselves. And natives sitting there and defending their lands against an invading force that has been invading and conquering for 400 plus years. Shoot, there ain't a damn thing wrong with that. But what's most important is learning separation from our oppressor. We're going to continue reading in verse 18. And the fruit of thy land. I'm saying so the best parts of our land, which shoot, you can look in the past and you can obviously the best parts of our land, they were stolen from us long ago. You know what I'm saying? Back when, Spaniards and French and British and Russians, along with Germans, first invaded and took what it was that they saw fit. But that's not only something something that's happened in the past. With all these things going on with the pipeline. Let me get that exact. The not only the coastal GasLink pipeline, but with the Keystone pipeline and every other pipeline that was built in the past. That is damn near centered around the best pieces of land that we got on really the crummy piece of land that our oppressor gave us on the reservations. So this land that could sit there and sustain, livestock, or provide us water, provided us with, vegetables, grains, fruits, I'm saying essentials in order for us to survive. These things were snatched from us, all because our oppressor wanted a little oil, because he wanted to make a little more money. So he didn't give a damn how much this would be cutting our people off from necessities. He didn't give a damn how much water would sit there and be poisoned if his pipeline leaked. Which we all know, these pipelines, they always leak. And they always leak a large amount of oil. But yet we're sit there and we're viewed as a crazy person by speaking out against these things. And when these people sit there and they, take our land and poison it with these leaks, which in all honesty, they are not accidental. I'm saying that's a common tactic of our oppressor, of the white man, is to sit there and poison a water source or a food source. I'm saying he'll either cause a famine or, your water supply, you'll get sick from drinking from these things, or you can't drink at all and you'll suffer from dehydration. So that's been a common tactic that has always been used really throughout the planet Earth. You can go and you can look at, the Roman Empire, and you can look at how he would sit there and he'd siege Israelite cities and he'd poison our water supplies, trying to force us out. You know what I'm saying? There can be a plethora of things that he poisons our supplies with. You know what I'm saying? It could be oil. It could be an actual poison. It could be a dead animal's body thrown up in there. it just so happens that oil fits in to where, you know, he can chalk it up as something that has naturally or accidentally happened. When everybody knows damn well that our oppressor knew that that shit would leak, that it would cause thousands, hundreds of thousands of gallons of oil to leak into our lands and poison anything for miles. Damn near poison the whole land if it's in, you know, the source of what it is that we got going on. I'm saying that's why it is very important, you know, that our people, that we learn tactics of war. And we learn what it is our oppressor has done to us in order to force us out of strongholds or to force us off of lands or in order to make us submit to whatever demands it is that he's got. Because sadly, a whole lot of our people, we don't know what tactics it is that he's really used in order to make us submissive to him. I'm saying, and a lot of his tactics, they involved using the land against us. It involved, you know, lying to us and forcing us, I should say, persuading us into moving into, you know, these certain lands, knowing damn well that these lands can't, you know, sustain a nation. And then he comes and he's like, oh, well, you know, okay, I got you. You suffering from starvation here? Okay, no sweat. Well, here's what I'll do for you. I'll move you into these lands further into, you know, this country here. I'm saying you'll get rations from the government. You'll get a food supply once you get there. You'll get water. It's a good place in order for you to rebuild your nation. And these things, they keep making these empty promises or contracts, and us as a nation, we believe them. And when we get to these lands, come to find out they are absolute garbage. You're saying dumpster juice, as one might say. And then we got to move on. Not getting, you know, the proper like recovery time and crops that we need in order to keep migrating. I'm saying until, you know, eventually, obviously, we get to the Trail of Tears. I'm saying, which was, shoot, really one of the worst land thefts that has ever happened to our people. It's lucky. We're going to continue in the verse of 18. The increase of thy kine and the flocks of thy sheep. And for those of us that don't know, I'm saying kine, it simply means, you know, your cattle. So no matter how many cattle, you know, we sit there and we add to our households as well as our sheep. You know what I'm saying? They're going to end up eventually being cursed in either our lands or land of America. Same, for instance, with all this, not only all this land theft that was going on, that is going on. I'm saying, so our oppressor stays taking, I'm saying, bits of land from us. I'm saying, little by little, piece by piece. I'm saying, which obviously that cuts back on not only the food supply that it is that our livestock needs in order to survive and in order to produce us, some type of gain that it is that we need, but with the things that were going on with the Keystone Pipeline a couple years ago, a lot of natives were actually cut off from, their livestock. They couldn't properly raise them or really collect them. And in which case the U.S. government came in and they either kill them, as they usually do, or they would collect them and sell them off to, a white farmer in order for him to, contribute to America's economy. And even if, they didn't sit there and steal them, or if, the cutting back of the land didn't affect certain, individuals, then, with the pipeline leaking so much oil throughout the land, I'm saying, of North and South Dakota, I'm saying, that would ultimately poison the water supply that the cattle would have to sit there and drink from, that they would need in order to survive. So then we had to either find another source, or our cattle would sit there and die of dehydration, and hell, even of starvation. Because really, all these leaks that were happening back then, and even to this day, because leaks are still going on. It's just, obviously hidden by, the media. But those types of things, they would they would cause starvation amongst our livestock. I'm saying, kill them off to where we couldn't even sit there and not only make ends meet off of them, but shoot, they'd be damn near polluted to the point where we couldn't even butcher them and, feed off of them for a week or two. Which, once again, is another common tactic amongst our oppressor, is to make sure that our animals and our crops are either poisoned or too feeble in order to provide us with something to provide subsistence amongst our people. I'm saying, it used to be we had to slaughter one another in order to get some type of meat in our goddamn meals. Yeah, but that's the type of things that happen not only when we sit there and disobey the Lord and not keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, saying because he let us know that he would send curses upon us as a nation. These are the type of things that happen when we join ourselves and believe in what it is our oppressor has to say to us. Because in reality, I'm saying we should never believe a goddamn word that it is that our oppressor, says. Shit really just says to us. Not believe in any treaty or in any type of thing that they offered us. We should always look at it as if these people they got some type of agenda behind it. I'm saying they got some type of reason that they're sitting there and saying that they're going to give us this or that. They got a reason that they're apologizing for stealing our land and raping and murdering our women, our children, our men. There's some type of reason they're passing this in favor of our nation. Which a lot of our youth sit there and they look past. So like, I'm going to go to verse 20. I'll give you a second to get there. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into it. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, it's like verse 20. Yeah, 20 and 20. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing. So the Lord of this Bible right here, you know what I'm saying? The same Bible that, people like to say is all love and all forgiving. You know what I'm saying? It says that he will send cursing upon our people. So for those of us, if you didn't watch, what I'm saying, past classes, like it. I'm saying curse is to inflict harm or punishment upon somebody. So this God that is supposed to be all loving and all forgiving and hugs and kisses, he's sitting there and he's inflicting harm upon our people. Saying not for nothing, obviously. I'm saying we'll get into that a little more in the scriptures. But, for instance, we can look at what is going on during, not only protests that were happening in the past, but protests that are happening till this day. You're saying there's protests up in Canada against the Coastal GasLink pipeline. You know what I'm saying? There's protests forming in Wisconsin, against the same pipeline that is being formed. And when we sit there and we try to, resist the power of America, usually harm usually falls upon our people. I'm saying in the protesters' sake, I'm saying the same thing is going to be done not only as the Keystone Pipeline, but as it always has. So there are going to be dogs running around, tearing into the flesh of natives, ripping apart legs or arms. Natives are going to be pinned down and dogs are just going to tear into their backs or thighs or, wherever it is they can sink their teeth into. I'm saying, and these civilian contractors, as you will, I'm saying, they're going to gladly do these things. And keep in mind, these are not people that sit there and work for the government or governments, as I should say. Since it's going on in Canada and in the U.S. These aren't people that have sworn an oath to protect the people or serve some type of, serve some type of, I guess you call it like a Cree. And these are everyday people that walk the streets among us. And they just be walking their dog one goddamn day next to you. You know what I'm saying? The same people that be going to the same McDonald's or grocery store as you do. And these are the same people that will sit there and take their trained animals out the protected land and sick them onto people that are protecting their livelihoods. I'm saying let that just sink in for a minute. I'm saying us as a nation, we like to sit there and talk about how it's a 21st century. It's 2020. You know what I'm saying? What has happened in the past, that was those people. Things have changed. It's a different time. You know what I'm saying? Things are no longer as they were. People, people they're still a little racist, but at the end of the day, they're still accepting of us as a nation. Saying truly, if that were the case, if these people were truly accepting of us as a people, if they truly felt sorrow for what it was that was happening to us, not only with the invasion, but with these pipelines, same with the incarcerations, with the torture. Same if it was truly a new age where people have different ideals and mindsets, then why is it that no white person steps up in order to stop what it is that's going on? Why is it that them as a whole, they don't sit there and say, you gotta you gotta stop what you're doing to these people. They're human beings just like me and you. You know what I'm saying? One or two protesters, you know what I'm saying, they don't mean a damn thing. But if things have truly changed as we think that it has, then there should be a large sum uh, of Europeans or white people stepping up and speaking out against what it is that their governments are doing to our lands, to our people, you know what I'm saying, to our future generations. But instead of doing just such a simple thing, a thing that, you know, us as a people we view as, just it's called like a natural human right. You know what I'm saying, things of that sort. I'm saying instead of them doing these things, they just simply they let it go. You know what I'm saying? Let these things happen. When if times have changed as we think that they should, there should be at least 1 million white people marching, you know what I'm saying, being at these protests or doing something at least in order to make sure that, what it is that's going on, isn't unnoticed. You know what I'm saying? They could at least use their white privilege, goddamn it, to be the front lines to block them rubber bullets, to take them dogs, that pepper spray. They should be the ones in waist high water freezing to death, all while getting kicked and punched and battered by militarized police forces. But yet, all these people that we sit there and say have changed, that they are different from their ancestors, that they want better for our nation. They are sitting inside of their comfortable homes and living lavish lives, enjoying what it is that their privilege brings to them. I'm saying that sounds like, I'm saying, nothing more than, shoot, a brainwashed slave to me that sits there and argues in the defense of not only America but her people. I'm saying it's really as simple as that. I'm saying, and all of the real natives, I'm saying, in and off the reservations, I'm saying, those of us that have native fathers, I'm saying, because your nationality is determined by the seed of your father. For those of us, that have white mothers, like myself, I'm saying, if they truly cared about these crimes, these atrocities that were that are being committed against our people, they'd simply step up. You know what I'm saying? They'd put them on the front lines. You know what I'm saying? They'd be ready to take a rubber bullet. They'd be ready to be shot, imprisoned. You know what I'm saying? Bitten up, having chemical weapons used on them. You know what I'm saying? That's if they truly meant, you know what I'm saying, all these, opinions that they voice about how wrong it is what is being done to our people, and how it's so sad, and how they wish they could do something, and they would be on the front lines. I'm saying, and I bring up the women because simply, their children belong to the people that are being oppressed and afflicted. White men, they can obviously step up. they can they can take on these bullets and these dogs. But from a realistic standpoint, they've got truly no reason to do so. It don't matter if their family is native, such as, their mother, their wife, their children, their wife or their children are so-called natives. Saying at the end of the day, it don't mean a damn thing to them. I'm saying, because they know who it is their people are, and they know who it is that they truly hate at the end of the day. And because as the scriptures say, these people will have a perpetual hatred for the nation of Israel, for blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians. And for those of us that don't know what perpetual means, it means an everlasting hatred. I'm saying it don't matter if you teach your children not to be racist, if you teach them to love everybody. At the end of the day, they're still going to have, deep down, they're still going to have that sense of hatred for our people. They're always going to want to have, what I'm saying, that nigga or that spick or that savage under their goddamn boot heel. I'm saying there's simply no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no way of tiptoeing around such a thing. Saying we sit here and we look at these curses in this book right here. I'm saying, and we look at, our oppressor willingly letting us, take on, these dogs or these bullets or being under their boot heel. We'll learn that it is simply because we are cursed due to our, disobedience and rebellious spirit against the Lord. I'm going to read verse 20 from the top. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing and vexation Slack. You know what I'm saying? So the God of this Bible, I'm saying, will send cursing and vexations against the nation of Israel. I'm saying against all 12 tribes. Because we all suffer from, you know what I'm saying, the same things. I'm saying that's one way we can sit there and link, us being one people at the end of the day. Is these curses in Deuteronomy chapter 28. So the definition of vexation is annoyed, frustrated, or worried. It's like, you know what I'm saying? And that can apply to, for instance, really, really any solution that we pursue as a nation. For instance, a lot of prominent figures on reservations, you know what I'm saying, and in the governments of the reservations, they pursue a council with the U.S. government or UN officials, making sure that they know their lucky. You know what I'm saying? Their frustration of what it is that is going on with all the land theft, with the poisoning of our lands. They make sure to let it be known that they are worried about our way of life as it is, about keeping our culture and our customs, about keeping our language. I'm saying we make sure to go to our slack. We make sure to go out of our way to our oppressor to make sure that he knows that we are not comfortable with what it is that's going on, that we are legitimately worried and afraid. But at the end of the day, no matter how much we express these things, no matter how much we call for a council or call these news stations, I'm saying, or do interviews, these people will truly never give a damn, and I mean a damn, about what it is that is going on with our people. I'm saying we can be worried all goddamn day and frustrated with what is going on. It's like what's going on all damn day. But at the end of the day, I'm saying these people are always going to side with their nation. They're going to side with whatever it is that benefits their people the most. Saying and all of that frustration and worries and all that annoyance that it is that we're getting from these situations that is going on inside of our lands, inside of our nation. You know what I'm saying? It's something that is reflected back on our people. I'm saying usually it's used in anger. So we usually end up lashing out against our own nation because we can't get the proper recognition or love from our oppressor that we think that we should be getting. I'm saying that is nothing more than cause division amongst our people as a whole. I'm saying we sit there and we lash out, and ultimately we blame it on our own people as to why it is that no change is being made. And then that causes just a rift between our people. It causes for us to hate one another. So what? And rebuke. And so the definition of rebuke is disapproval or criticism of. Saying, for instance, it's slacking. It's like, for instance, we like to sit there and bash our own as a nation, right? You know what I'm saying? We like to speak out against those that are for the U.S. government. You're saying speak out against those that are Slovakia. Speak out against those that are against the U.S. government. You're saying we like to speak out against those that are looking to make sure that our oppressor fesses up to his crimes and what it is that he is doing to our people. I'm saying to our nation. And in most cases, I'm saying, like I said before, it causes a rift. It causes for our children that we have taught to love, the United States, I'm saying America. It causes for them to turn on those that truly love their nation. I'm saying it just causes separation and confusion amongst our own, something that should not be going on. I'm saying we should be unified in one thought as a nation. And I don't mean just unified in any regular, thought or way of life. You know what I'm saying? We got to be unified in something that is going to better our people as a whole and ensure that we come up out of these gutters that we've been living in since our oppressor forced us into them. I'm saying, so that really only leaves one solution on how it is we should be unified. I'm saying, and that only solution, I'm saying that's separation. You know what I'm saying? That is teaching our people a completely different way of life that America has taught us since they have enslaved and conquered us. And the only way that you can learn, that specific way of life, I'm saying that way of life that is going to better our nation is simply if you come into I.S.U.P.K. under Command GEN.YAHANNA. It's the only way for our people. Because we aren't really going to learn the necessities in order to survive as a people. For instance, I'm saying the elders will sit there and teach us not only to love everybody, but they'll teach us, things that are perceived as being little, such as, you can eat pork. I'm saying you can sit there and lie if it's necessary, or steal if it's necessary. It's like, I'm saying you can sit there and lust after your best friend's woman. When all these things, they lead to the downfall of our nation. They lead to us falling underneath these curses and us ultimately being punished by the Lord because we rather pursue our lustful desires. I'm saying, rather than doing what the Lord told us to do, rather than keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. So, like, so we're gonna go ahead. So, like, we're gonna continue in verse 20. And all that thou settest thy hand unto for to do, till thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly because of the wickedness of thy doings. I'm saying, so all these different causes that we take up as a nation. I'm saying, whether it's fighting for land, I'm saying, fighting for rights, so on and so forth, because we sat there and sinned against the Lord and followed our own ways as a people, and did what it is that we saw as being right. I'm saying we would be punished for these things, especially when it comes to loving, I'm saying, the white man, our oppressor. I'm saying the Lord will punish us for doing such things. It's really, I'm saying, it's as simple as that. It's one of the simplest things you could learn, that our people are in the state that we're in because we simply decided to not follow these laws, statutes, or commandments. And by us choosing to do these wicked things in the sight of the Lord, I'm saying, he caused us to perish. I'm saying, to be destroyed. Not only, amongst our own people, but amongst our enemy. I'm saying, to cause us to suffer at the hands of our enemy, all because we couldn't do, I'm saying, a few simple things. because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the class.